London, 1923. The year has just turned. There is a crisp chill in the air. City streets still quiet after a celebration of the night before. Snow dusts the rooftops and clings to the cobblestones, while the occasional horse-drawn carriage passes alongside the newer motor cars. Your journey to London began in a manner most suited to your tastes. I guess really we're just speaking about Florence, because Glenn lives in London, and as does Luis. So, Florence, you came in a manner most suited to your taste. Most likely by ship, if not plane. And upon arriving, you find your chosen lodgings, be it a bed and breakfast, private townhouse, or grand halls of the Chelsea Arms Hotel. And you know that Dr. Smith has summoned you to London, not only for an anticipated reunion, but also for a lecture he'll be giving tonight at the Imperial Academy of Kensington. Typically, he shares his lecture topics well in advance, but this time, the professor has chosen to keep you all in suspense. He promises a surprise, and given his lively and unpredictable nature, you can't help but wonder what strange subject he'll present. Taking a moment to settle in and refresh from your journey, you set out to the Imperial Academy. You make your way through cobbled streets. Are you going to take a car, actually? I guess you'd have to hire a driver. But you've got the money for that.
Yeah.
How do you arrive?
Well, they would have carriages then, too, wouldn't they?
Yeah, you could get a carriage.
I'd go by carriage.
Okay.
I guess it could be cheaper.
Most likely.
Well, yeah.
So, you make your way through the cobbled streets of London, crisp evening air, carrying the scent of burning coal, glowing gas lamps casting shadows across the street. You pass stately buildings and wide boulevards, and then the grand architecture of the Imperial Academy looms ahead. A familiar, well, no, I guess not a familiar sight, because you weren't there the first time we went here. That's right. You didn't join until we were on the train. Because they did come here. This was like where we started initially. Was at the Imperial Academy.
Oh, yeah.
So this kind of echoes that. Tall fluted columns rise from the steps to meet ornately carved pediments adorned with statues of explorers and scholars alike. Massive iron gates swung open reveal a manicured courtyard of gravel, paths, and well-kept hedges. A light snow powders the steps and walkways. You see people dressed in their evening finery. They're moving in small groups towards the grand entrance. And there's a few military officers, sabers rattling in their hilt. And I'm trying to think if I had something specific to give you, Louise. Oh, yeah. You can read this aloud.
This is the last 30 years of my marriage. Your marriage to Julius was one built on intellectual respect, shared adventure, and an unbreakable bond forged in the fires of the occult. Though you were 10 years Julius's senior, you shared love of knowledge and the pursuit of truth make you equal partners in every way. 18 months after the defeat of the children of the Blood Red Fez, you married in a quiet but elegant ceremony in Vienna, attended only by a small circle of trusted friends. Rather than settling into a traditional life, the two of you embarked on a decades-long journey across Europe, the Middle East, and even into Asia, conducting research, chasing down lost artifacts, and studying phenomena that conventional scholars dismissed as myth. Over the years, you've both built a formidable academic legacy, publishing works on history, folklore, and the psychology of belief. Julius continued his work in parapsychology, pushing the boundaries of what was accepted in academic circles. Your debates were legendary, sharpening each other's understanding of the unknown. Your home in London became a gathering place for the scholars, adventurers, and those who had glimpsed the darkness lurking beneath the surface of reality. You were known to host salons where lively discussions of ancient civilizations, hidden cults, and the unexplained filled the air with smoke and intrigue. Though you never had children of your own, Glenn Collette became like a son to both of you. You, ever the teacher, nurtured his intellect and discipline, ensuring he became a well-rounded scholar in his own right. Julius, meanwhile, encouraging his curiosity, bringing him along on expeditions and exposing him to the thrill of discovery. Though you never spoke of it openly, both Julius and yourself saw in him your legacy, knowing that one day he might carry on your work. In the last few years, Julius began to withdraw from public life, turning his attention finally to parapsychology and the limits of human perception. His research took on a new urgency, as though he had glimpsed something in his studies that unsettled even him. You worried about his obsession, but remained by his side, ensuring he did not drift too far into the abyss. When the Challenger Trust Banquet Lecture was announced, it was you who urged Julius to take the stage once more, to remind the world of his brilliance and to reconnect with those who had fought by his side all those years ago.
So, inside, you bump into Glenn Collette, who you haven't seen in who knows how many years.
Probably a while.
Yeah. And scene. Action!
Oh, my dear sweet Glenn, how have you been?
Doing pretty well.
What have you been up to all these years?
Oh, well, I fought in World War One.
I also helped with the war effort. It was terrible, wasn't it?
It was just the Great War. Because World War II hadn't happened yet.
I said World War One.
Oh, it
It's
was
just
called
the Great War.
Oh,
Because
it's
they
just
didn't know there
called-
would be another World War. They weren't calling it World War One yet.
Oh. I was in the Great War.
So, together, you ascend a grand marble staircase. As you enter the upper east gallery, you notice the dusty trade manuals and commercial displays have been swept away, replaced by a scene of opulence and spectacle. The walls, once lined with product catalogs, now bear tall, regal windows draped in heavy crimson curtains. Crystal chandeliers overhead cast a soft, golden glow across the room. Men in sharp tuxedos mingle with ladies adorned in gowns of satin and silk, their sparkling jewels catching the light as they move. The military presence is unmistakable. Splendid dress uniforms trimmed in gold, gleaming medals on proud chests, and ceremonial sabers hanging from leather belts. The scent of expensive cologne and cigars blends with the lingering polish of wood and brass. And you see Dr. Julius Arthur Smith. So, just for reference, that's what he looked like 30 years ago.
And now he looks like...
This is what he looks like today.
Alright.
I put that in the center.
Let's see what my husband looks like. I forgot.
And he's grown a little rotund in the last 30 years. And his mustache is even thicker and more walrus-like than it was 30 years ago. So, Dr. Julius Smith steps up to the lectern, adjusting his spectacles with flourish. His great curling mustache twitches as he surveys the room, his eyes gleaming with a hearty chuckle. He taps the podium lightly, calling for attention as the scattered murmurs in the hall begin to fade. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all feeling refreshed after your wine and biscuits, because tonight, well, I have a tale or two that should keep you awake, and if not, I dare say it'll be my whiskers doing the work to keep you alert. He tweaks his mustache, gets a little chuckle from the crowd. Now, I'd like to begin this evening with a story. It's about a certain Monsieur Auguste Delon, a Parisian spiritualist who, if you can believe it, claimed to be able to converse with Napoleon Bonaparte himself. And you start to hear chuckles from the crowd. Yes, a remarkable man, or so he thought. His seances were quite the spectacle. Candles flickering, tables trembling. Oh, such a performance. But there was always a touch of melodrama about him. Too much flair, and not quite enough substance, if you catch my meaning. So, one evening, after he'd claimed to bring the great Emperor's spirit into the room for the 100th time, I decided to have a go at this charlatan. You see, I had taken the liberty of inviting along a little acquaintance of mine, a man who spent the better part of his life in Corsica, a region our dearly departed Napoleon might have known rather intimately. Now, this Corsican, a true gentleman and an officer, stood up in the middle of Monsieur Delon's séance and demanded, if you truly commune with Napoleon, ask him to speak to me in our shared tongue. Huh, the look on Delon's face. You see, our spiritualist was as familiar with Corsican as I am with, well, dolphin whistles. The hall erupts in laughter, some clutching their sides, others wiping tears from their eyes. Smith waits patiently, savoring the reaction, his face alight with a playful grin. And would you believe, dear friends, that Delon's Napoleon suddenly developed a very convenient case of selective amnesia. Couldn't recall a single word of Corsican. How tragic. The spirit world can be so forgetful, don't you think? Needless to say, that séance ended with rather more abruptness than it began. More laughter ripples through the room, and Smith, clearly enjoying himself, spreads his hands out in a gesture of mock humility. Of course, my dear friends, for every cleverly exposed fraud or ruse, there are, alas, categories of repetitious phenomena that offer no simple elucidation. His tone shifts a little more serious now, and the glint of amusement never leaves his eyes. The audience quiets and leans in. I refer, of course, to such events as the poltergeist, the traveller who suddenly finds himself dozens, or even thousands of miles, or years from where he stood but moments before. And finally, to the haunting. Yes, my presentation tonight concerns the last, hauntings. Now, I say haunting, and not ghost or spirit, because alone among such epiphenomena, haunters can be more than mere spectres of the dead. In fact, haunters can be buildings, lanterns, coaches and fours, swords, and so on, just as easily as they can be men, women, dogs, bears, processions, or even armies. A murmur runs through the audience at this claim, and Smith leans forward slightly, resting his hands on the lectern for emphasis. Worldwide, the store of casual anecdote concerning haunters is enormous, but you see, I call them epiphenomena, and not just because I enjoy twisting your tongues, no, I call them that because these haunters are not necessarily linked to specific observers. They do not rely upon our human gaze to exist or perform their acts. The haunting occurs, my dear friends, whether or not we are present to witness it. Thus, our perception of such events is secondary to the event itself. He allows a moment for the gravity of that statement to sink in before moving forward. Now, The essential characteristics of these haunters are remarkably simple. First, the person, animal, or object in question must have existed in reality, or at some point in time. Second, they must have disappeared, whether through death, destruction, or some other mysterious means. The third, and this is the crux, they must reappear. Reappearance, you see, is key. It may happen once, or it may happen many times, for weeks, years, or even centuries. He steps away from the podium slightly. What's most fascinating, however, is that the location of the phenomena can change, or remain the same. The haunter may shift between places, or linger steadfastly in one cursed locale. What reappears, well, it may be partial, insubstantial, like the wisp of a dream, or it may be as solid and real-seeming as you and I, sitting here in this very room tonight. The audience listens intently, some nodding, others leaning forward in curiosity. Others scoff at it as a fanciful idea. No other conditions are required. What haunts us may be as faint as a shadow, or as tangible as a hand upon your shoulder. And it is that very reappearance, that return from non-existence into our present world, that makes these hauntings so profoundly unsettling. What is gone should remain gone, should it not? His eyes twinkle again, the hint of a wry smile tugging at his lips, as he lets the question hang in the air. The room dims slightly, and he gestures to a screen behind him as the first slide clicks into place. An old photograph of a Breton fishing boat, half submerged in misty waters. Now, dear colleagues, let me direct your attention to the first of our 3 cases this evening. A Breton fishing boat. This particular vessel was seen last in 1889, before vanishing without a trace during a sudden squall off the coast of Brittany. However, fishermen have since reported sightings of the same vessel, shimmering like a ghostly mirage, passing silently through the waters. The slide changes as it clicks and shows 3 simultaneous images, each from a different angle of the same apparition. As you can see, we captured it from 3 positions, allowing for precise measurement. It is semi-transparent, as if it exists on the very edge of reality. Look closely at the wave moving through the boat here. It causes no disruption, no froth, no ripples. This vessel offers no resistance to the water. It simply isn't there in any physical sense. And he clicks it again. Another slide shows the ghostly boat from another perspective, where a second photographer is faintly visible through the apparition. Smith leans forward. Observe that the apparition, whether boats, peoples, or animals, do not emerge as pinpoints of light, as so many tales suggest. No, they arrive whole, as if stepping through what I have termed the curtain of perception, that thin veil separating their world from ours. The image fades, replaced by the next slide. This time it's a Norwegian woman, draped in antiquated clothing. She's descending a staircase. Her form is faint, flickering slightly, yet without enough substance to cast reflections on any of the nearby windows. Our second subject is the apparition of a Norwegian woman, last seen alive in 1872. Her manifestation shares key attributes with the fishing boat. Note the glow here. He taps the pointer. There is evidence of ionization, though not in a fully predictable manner. The light levels fluctuate randomly, and yet the glow is unmistakable. It seems to radiate from within, as if she herself is a source of energy, a ghostly lantern wandering through time. He adjusts his glasses and clicks to the next image. A London hansom cab drawn by a horse, moving slowly through a foggy street. Our final subject is this hansom cab, last recorded in 1901. The horse, as you'll notice, appears as real as any you might see on the street of London today. Yet, when you examine the photographic evidence closely, you can see that it is too semi-transparent. Notice the tail. Here, the horse's tail seems to switch, not in anger or fear, but casually, as though swatting away flies. When we speed up the 16mm footage, the movement appears perfectly normal, even mundane. This suggests that whatever these apparitions are, they are moving slower than the world around them. Half the speed, maybe, to be exact. In each case we've studied, it's been slightly different. He steps away from the screen, his pointer now resting at his side, as he addresses the audience directly. Historically speaking, each of these three apparitions was not destroyed or killed in the conventional sense. The fishing boat was lost. The woman disappeared. The cab simply arrived arrived at its destination. None of them met with the finality of death. At least, not as we understand it. And yet, they return whole, but somehow not of our world anymore. The final slide clicks into place, showing the three apparitions side by side. Now, instances of solid apparitions, those you might touch or even interact with, are incredibly rare. One might wait many lifetimes to encounter such a thing. But these more ephemeral haunters, they seem to pass through time like phantoms, appearing and disappearing without rhyme or reason. What drives them? We do not know. The room is utterly silent now. Captivated by the professor's presentation, the lights come back up slowly and Smith steps back from the podium. It is my belief, ladies and gentlemen, that these hauntings we have examined tonight represent more than mere echoes of the past. They are, in fact, clues, glimpses into a natural universe much larger and certainly much stranger than we imagine. You see, the walls of what we perceive as normality are not so rigid as we may think. There is, I suggest, a subtle flexibility to them. Perhaps these spectral apparitions are attempting, whether by accident or design, to return to our time and space from somewhere else, somewhere they have been removed. Lets the thought hang in the air for a moment as murmurs ripple through the audience. And what if? What if their attempts are a message, a key even, to understanding something far beyond our current grasp? If we students of parapsychology are diligent, energetic, and perhaps even a little lucky in our observations, one day we may discover how to manipulate these unseen boundaries. Imagine, if you will, moving up and down through time, traveling the globe with only the smallest of effort, or perceiving that which at present lies completely beyond our senses. These hauntings, these spectral phenomena, they may be windows into a world we are not yet able to see in full. What waits beyond those windows, well, that remains the supreme question. He steps back slightly, tone lowering. And now, my friends, it is a question each of us must answer for ourselves. What awaits us on the other side of these curtains of perception? Only time, and perhaps our willingness to explore, will tell. And with that, he offers a small bow. The room erupts in applause. And the night goes on. The hubbub of the lecture has started to die down. The last murmurs of discussion fading as attendees begin to drift towards the exits. Smith himself, however, lingers behind, his ever-curious gaze fixed on you. He steps forward, his great mustache twitching with amusement. As he clasps his hand together. Well then, it was quite an affair, wasn't it? But enough about me. I insist you tell me, what have you been up to?
Oh. So I fought in the Great War, and...
You're my son. I know what you've been up to, friend.
Yeah, I know. Well,
But what? I haven't seen you in a few weeks. What have you been up to? Any new cases?
no, none recently.
And you, Florence?
And I've continued my studies in nursing and are continued to help people with my skills in nursing and delved into studying more about the unknown as after the experiences that we encountered 30 years ago.
So you've continued the good fight.
Yes, indeed.
Well, my life has been somewhat quieter, at least in comparison to those days of frantic train rides and eldritch mischief. Louise and I have lived well. She is, as ever, the sharpest mind I have ever known. I, of course, remain the ever-charming companion, keeping her entertained. There is a fondness in his voice, but beneath it a weight, a subtle acknowledgement of years past and things left behind. And at this point, Luis, you approach from somewhere in the crowd. You were watching. And you meet with you meet with Florence for the first time in years.
We are so excited that you were able to come.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes, and I think that we're going to maybe once again, perhaps, go on a journey.
Mystery?
Hmm?
Get a mystery?
I think so. I think that's why we've been drawn here tonight. And it seemed as if you've continued on with the same thing, really in maybe a different way but the same as we have continued on.
Yes, indeed. I have continued to study and learn what I can.
And Glenn, you have been very diligent in, seeking to solve mysteries and make right what was wrong, and we're very proud of you for doing that.
I know.
So,
Yes. You are a son to me, Glenn.
Pretty much.
The son I never had. I'm already starting to lose my voice. So, how did you like the lecture?
Amazing.
It was fascinating.
Anything in particular about it you found fascinating?
The mystery, the mysteries, the man, the boat, and, the woman.
and the woman.
The woman, the boat, and the carriage.
The thought of the curtain of perception. Do you really think we could perhaps travel between worlds, or?
Well, it would seem that these things come from somewhere else, so I believe that one day we might find the other side. I have been attempting to introduce the scientific method into the study of magic, let's just call it, particularly in understanding the peculiar phenomena of, some people call them portals. I have been calling them gates. Gateways into other worlds. Accounts of such anomalies are far too numerous to be dismissed outright. The problem is separating the real ones from the fake. There are more fake than real out there. A lot of hysteria after the war. All the dead soldiers has caused people to see their loved ones as ghosts appearing here and there. We have to separate those from the real ones, the real events.
Yes, true.
Ah.
I remember the third day of camp. The person next to me, the person next to me on the bunk bed was randomly killed in the middle of the night.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Glenn.
Nobody knows how, but we're expecting that it was from a pistol of some sort.
I know it haunts you still.
You never were able to find out who it was that did it?
None of us were.
Oh my.
But we're expecting it was from somebody, like a spy. We're expecting that.
Okay.
Still trying to figure it out.
It's odd that nobody heard a gun go off.
Yeah, but we're pretty sure that it's some sort of pistol, because we did find the round. It was a
45 caliber?
45 caliber, yeah.
Perhaps it came from the other side. If there was no gunshot. Perhaps the bullet
Yes, it did.
was from the past. Fired from the past. Arrived in the future. Who knows? Anything could be possible.
But how?
Fascinating thought.
What if these are not mere hauntings? What if these spectres are glimpses of transference? Things slipping, however briefly, from one point to another. If such a thing is possible, could one not theoretically control these openings? Step in one door and out another? Into another time? Another place? Imagine it. Could something or someone be opening them intentionally, even? We don't know what causes these things to open up and appear. But I'm rambling again, aren't I? Old habits. Still, I would be most interested to hear your thoughts.
That could be.
Well, do you have any idea of where to even begin to look?
Oh, not at the moment. That threatened fishing boat was the most recent occurrence. I just sent a team of investigators out there
Oh.
the other week. Everyone make me a spot hidden roll as you're talking to Smith.
And that's with the...
The two.
Mm-hmm.
Here, right here. Let's do it.
Let me look, see which ones you've got.
Yes.
64, and my spot hidden
It's-
Those two
is
back there.
25.
Yeah.
So
No.
fail.
Everything that was on the yeah,
Okay.
right there.
Okay. Spot
What
hidden
do you
roll.
got? Fail. You got a fail. Okay, let's see. I got 21. Hot diggity.
I got 24.
So that's a pass for me.
Let's see. Spot hidden roll.
I need you to tell me now. From here on, I need you to tell me if it's a hard, an extreme, or a regular success. Okay, so you both notice two individuals standing up to you in the crowd, amongst everyone else, as everyone's leaving. You notice that your congratulatory conversation is being observed by a dark, mustached man in his late 30s. He wears a mustache bushy enough to be classified as foreign in your minds. And you also notice a Japanese woman in a white trench coat. You assume she's Asian. And she's in a white trench coat, and she's in a shadowy corner, kind of also watching over you guys as your conversation goes on. But yeah, just you two notice that as you're talking to Smith. Well, I think it's about time we head home, Luis, don't you agree?
Yes, I do. Oh. Do you want to come back to the house? And...
Well, I think we ought to have... you can take our friends out tomorrow,
Okay.
I think would be best.
Okay.
Because it's quite late.
Okay.
It's because she arrived pretty late in the day, and
Okay.
so this happened later in the night.
Okay.
So it's actually quite late. So there's not really a lot you
Okay.
could go out and do, and
Okay.
everyone's getting pretty tired after the lecture.
So maybe you'll join us tomorrow? We can go to lunch or dinner?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Are you guys okay if I bring my friend John with me?
Is John
Yeah, remember?
in England?
Yes, he is.
I thought he lived in America.
Yeah, he did, but he just recently moved here.
Okay, that makes it convenient
Good.
if you need him. Okay. Yes, of course.
Okay.
I love John. He's a great man. Fascinating fellow. You have good friends, Glenn.
Yes.
So, you head back to your hotel, I assume. You probably stayed at the Chelsea Arms Hotel, let's just say. It's like one of the more fancier hotels. And then, Glenn, you go back to your home.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you get into a carriage, and you're on your way home with your husband. And it rocks gently as it moves through the darkened streets of London. The ambient glow of gas lamps illuminating cobbled roads. Chill of the evening air seeping in through the cabin. Well, that went as well as expected. The audience laughed in all the right places, gasped where they should have, and left the hall buzzing with discussion. You watch him, studying his profile in the dim light, and then suddenly he says, "You should take them out tomorrow. It's been 30, well, not with Glenn. I don't know. How long has it been since you've seen Smith and Louise? Florence? Has it been 30 years, or did you see him sooner probably?
I'm
Or
for sure I probably had visited them at some point within those 30 years.
dealing with the occult?
Yeah.
It's been a long time, Louise.
We'll say 10.
10 years. I imagine Florence would like to see a bit of London before we send her back off to whatever corner of the world she's been hiding in. And Glenn, I'm sure, would like to go too. Be a good reunion. Wouldn't you agree?
I do.
Well, I'll catch up on some reading and writing, perhaps. Maybe something a little less respectable, like having a brandy before noon. And I'll leave you to your companions.
You just don't feel like you want to go?
Oh, I wouldn't want to impose. You are more familiar with Florence than I am, anyways. It was you who went on that journey with her.
Yes,
after all.
yes. Okay.
And I have work to do as well. The carriage lurches slightly as it turns onto your street. The familiar brick facade of your home looms ahead, its dark windows standing in silent welcome, still up there. Inside the house, it is as it always has been, comfortable, well kept, filled with the scent of aged books and old wood. The fire in the study is still smoldering, and Beddoes, your faithful manservant, he waits with his usual quiet efficiency. Welcome home, sir, madam. I trust the lecture went well this evening. Oh, yes. It did indeed, Beddoes. You and Julius move through your familiar routine. There's a peculiar kind of peace in the air. The sort that settles just before a storm. And then night passes, and the next morning arrives, and you're now in charge. So.
All right. Well, dear, I'm going to take leave here in a moment, and I'm going to go pick up Florence at her hotel.
All right, you can take the car, dear.
Oh,
I just want
okay.
to,
All right.
I'm sure they'd enjoy having a ride in that
Okay.
newfound
all right.
contraption.
Okay, and then we'll pick up Glenn, and we'll go
He
around
just
the
lives
city.
down the road, so
Right.
pick him up
he's-
first.
Yes, yes. And then we'll have lunch, and we'll go sightseeing.
Yes, you should take them to all the sites.
Yes.
Trafalgar Square, National Gallery,
Right.
Big Ben, Westminster, all that.
All of
Yes.
it. All of it. Yes. And then we'll plan on meeting back with you this evening, or I'll.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, well, enjoy your day, dear.
Okay.
So yeah, you head out, get in the car. What kind of car do you drive? Do you know? What model is it?
Well, it's 1923, so it's probably maybe a Duesenberg.
Uh-huh.
It's a big car.
Big Duesenberg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you arrive Glenn's home. Glenn, you hear a honk outside.
Oh.
You recognize... Oh, I recognize the Duesenberg.
Where'd it go?
So yeah, you head out and join her. And you drive down to the Chelsea Arms Hotel, where you find Florence. I'm assuming that she knows that you're... Well, I guess she doesn't know, so you're going to have to talk to the
Front
clerk
desk.
at the front desk,
Yeah.
you know, send a message up to her.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, Florence, you get a call. Well, I don't know if they would have phones in the rooms yet. Probably not.
No, probably not.
You get a message from one of the
Porters.
bellhops or whatever, porters, yeah. That your friends are waiting for you downstairs. And you join them. You are surprised to find Glenn and Louise downstairs in the lobby.
Well, and John is with
Yeah.
him too.
Oh, yes, and I guess John is also with
John
us.
also.
Yes.
Okay,
with
sure.
us.
And scene. Action.
So John, meet Louise.
Well, he would already know Louise.
Well, yeah, and Florence. Or well, you already know Louise, but you don't know who Florence is. I'm pretty sure.
Hello,
And-
John. It's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, ma'am.
I know that you've known Glenn for a long time.
Oh, yeah, he's my dear friend.
Remember that one time, whenever we found a train and well, I found.
Oh, that shotgun? Yeah, I remember that. How could I forget? You love that thing. You never let it leave your side, Glenn.
Yep. It's amazing.
So we're gonna go on a tour then?
Yes. Would everybody like some lunch first?
Yeah, sure.
Well, it's probably too early for lunch. It's the morning.
Breakfast then.
Brunch?
Brunch time, yeah.
Brunch. Okay, we can go for brunch.
Okay.
We'll do it.
You could have brunch at the Chelsea Arms. They've got a great breakfast. Continental.
Have you eaten here yet? For anything?
Not
Have you?
since I've been in, no.
No. Okay. Well, shall we give that a try?
Yeah,
Well-
sure.
Okay. We'll go in and see what they're having this morning.
You have a wonderful breakfast, continental breakfast, pretty traditional fare at the Chelsea Arms, and then you begin your day of tourism. The first stop on your journey. First, you stop in Trafalgar Square. You find yourselves at the heart of a vast, restless sea of people.
Yes.
So yeah, you find yourself amongst the sea of people. The air is charged with energy, as thousands have gathered for a demonstration. The towering figure of Nelson's column rises above the crowd, dwarfed by the collective presence of those below.
I wonder what's going on. Why are so many people gathered here?
Well, I think it has something to do with that. And he points to a communist flag waving the hammer and sickle. The bright red flags of the Communist Party flutter in the wind. And you hear the sound of the red flag being sung. It fills the air, a song of resistance and solidarity, echoing through the square as fists are raised and voices shout in unison. The steps of the National Gallery, a speaker rallies the masses. Placards demanding jobs, justice, and reform are held high. The people, men, women, even children, wear expressions of determination and weariness. Horses and policemen attempt to keep some semblance of order at the edges of the demonstration. Street vendors, always opportunistic, move through the crowd, selling teas, pamphlets, and newspapers. The air smells of wet stone, damp wool, and the distant smoke from street fires. But you move away from the chaos and get yourself far from that. As you arrive, you walk towards Westminster from the square, and towering Gothic spires of Parliament stretch into the sky, overlooking the Thames. Just as you arrive, Big Ben chimes the hour, its deep toll rolling through the crisp morning air. A pair of older women in heavy wool coats stand near the entrance to Parliament, handing out pamphlets demanding women's rights to be expanded further. As you pass, one of them eyes you critically, and she looks at you, Glenn. Are you a man of intellect and good sense? Or do you need some education? Before you can reply, she thrusts a pamphlet into your hands and moves on.
She didn't even give you a chance to say anything.
Yeah.
She didn't really hear what the answer was. That's why.
Yeah.
And then a short tram ride later, you find yourselves at the Tower of London. Its ancient stone walls standing grim and imposing against the sky. The yeoman warders, clad in ceremonial garb, guide groups of tourists through the grounds, regaling them with stories of beheaded queens and disappearing princes. But just as you pause to admire the bloody tower, a wiry lad in a flat cap sidles up beside you, his grin sharp and knowing. Oi! You lot look like you enjoy a bit of adventure? You want to see something the warders won't tell you?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a
sure.
door behind the tower. Swear on me mum, I saw it open last night. But there's something hidden down there. And I want... Grandma, make me a psychology roll.
So do I do the two
Or anyone, yeah, anyone
two
really.
dice? Okay.
Yeah.
I got an 80.
I got a 44, which is a
86.
fail.
I failed.
What do you say?
I don't know.
A few shillings, and I'll show you the door.
You lead the way then.
Well, not without the money.
Oh. How much?
3 shillings, please.
Okay.
So yeah, he takes it and he leads you to the back of the tower. It's right there, you see? You gotta look closely. Where the light catches the edge. The door's there, I promise. You can all give me a spot hidden.
$42.
Extreme success. And for you, let's see, where's your spot hidden? You're failed.
Yeah.
And I passed.
Okay. Yeah, you look very closely at this wall and you see no door at all. There is no crease. There is no light. And when you turn around, the kid is gone.
That was fun, wasn't it?
That's a good way to earn 3 shillings. Heck yeah. Thank you, Glenn.
I don't mind those kind of adventures.
Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't even think the kid was telling the truth at all, first of all, but I just decided to see it for myself.
There you go.
Well, you couldn't tell.
For no reason.
Because you failed your psychology roll.
I know.
Alright, so, by midday, you are standing beneath the great dome of St. Paul's Cathedral, its stone steps worn smooth by centuries of visitors. Inside, the hush is near absolute, save for the occasional murmur of prayer or flickering candlelight. Near the whispering gallery, an elderly clergyman, his long robes swaying as he speaks, delivers a dramatic retelling of the Great Fire of London to a small crowd. And then, my friends, as the flames crept toward the mighty dome, it is said that the Wren himself stood there, swearing to the heavens that his creation would not fall, and behold, it did not. You hear someone whisper, "Did that actually happen?" "No, but he's making a good story of it." And then, eventually, around lunchtime, Louise brings you, as the hunger sets in, she insists on taking you to Fleet Street, home to London's most infamous journalists and scandal makers. Which, Glenn's friend John is very excited to go to. So, you find yourself at the Punch Tavern, a dimly lit pub with dark wooden beams and walls covered in old newspaper clippings. The place is lively, filled with newspapermen nursing drinks and swapping rumors. One such man, already deep in his cups, slouches over from the next booth and grins. "You lot look like you've seen a thing or two. Tell me, what's the most scandalous thing you've encountered today? I'll print it in tomorrow's issue."
Not today. A while ago. Which I said I don't know if we should mention.
How a while ago?
Should we mention it, Louise?
30 years ago.
I can't print a story about 30 years ago. I need something from today.
It's
Yeah.
interesting. Really interesting.
You got swindled by a kid out of 3 shillings a while ago.
How interesting.
Well, you believe in the supernatural? And
Not particularly.
have you ever heard of the children of the Blood Red Fez?
I can't say that I have.
I remember.
Do tell me more. And he pulls out a notepad and a pen. Or a pencil or whatever.
I remember that. Louise, should we start from the beginning? Or should we start from near the end?
Well,
It's
that
a really
is,
long story.
Well, however you start, you spend a good hour, 2 hours, 3 hours recounting the tale of the Blood Red Fez. And by the end, he looks exasperated and he's like, "Oh my God. I really wasn't expecting a story like this. I don't know that they'll let me publish this, but either way, I'm gonna get it out there.
They hopefully do, because
This needs to be
people need
heard."
to know about this. They do. I was 12, and I remember.
You
that
were
one
only
part.
12?
Yeah,
A kid, and you killed a man.
yeah.
Well, that had to have messed you up.
It's not that. It was.
Well,
Yeah.
plus everything else. I mean, the shadow monster that you described, and that giant eye in the sky? That sounds crazy.
and this is my permanent
Yeah.
mark from that.
Whenever she
Incidents.
put on one of the Blood Red Fezes.
And has it affected you at all since?
Oh, it's changed my whole entire life.
Yeah, it has.
Yes, it has.
Changed her life.
Yeah. Yes. I've learned not to be as fearful as I once was, and it helped me explore my horizons in my own career. I added psychoanalytic endeavors because of it.
Well, it's been great speaking with you all, but I do need to get home now.
Wait, what time?
I'm going to give you my card.
Okay.
If you ever need a journalist, you can call me.
Okay.
And he gives you a card with his contact information on it. If you ever have any other stories like this, I'd be very interested to hear about them.
Well, if we get any other mysteries, we probably will. And same thing with my friend John here.
So, after lunch, a brisk walk through Hyde Park helps clear your head. The park is alive with life. Horses trotting along the paths, swans gathering near the pond, and gentlemen in top hats debating politics beneath the trees.
Oh God, these are great pictures. I love them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Amazing.
Nearby, a wild-eyed man on a wooden crate shouts to anyone who will listen. The veil is thin, my friends. You see a London of brick and gaslight, but beneath it lurks another London. A London of ghosts, of phantoms. The Lords of Parliament are not who they claim to be.
Don't have to tell me. I've already seen a cult before.
We may need that journalist sooner than we think.
You there! What do you know of the Lords of Parliament?
I'm not intimately acquainted with them.
Well, they are evil beings, I promise you. Stay away. They have evil machinations.
How do you know this?
I have seen them shapeshift in front of me.
Ooh.
Okay, I'm gonna do
They turned into green lizard men.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing a check.
And they're in league
What's that called?
with the spirits of London.
Yeah, I'm doing a psychology check on that guy.
Okay.
Look what you've taken.
80.
Yeah,
And
you-
mine's 40.
You can't tell what's wrong with this guy.
Either you're correct, or either you're seeing something different than what's actually happening. I have no idea.
You see, he could
My eyes do not deceive me, young man. The 40. You're young to me. I'm very old. I know a lizard man when I see one. The veil is thin, my friends! And he continues just shouting nonsense, really, to anyone who will listen.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that he's seeing things, but I don't know for sure.
And, finally, you stop as the sun begins to set. Luis leads you to the Black Lion, a cozy old pub, the roaring fireplace, and the smell of warm ale in the air. The walls are lined with portraits of old sailors and dusty ship models. And the clientele are older men sipping their pints, murmuring over well-worn conversations. The barkeep, a burly man with a perpetual form, eyes you as you take your seats. He looks at you, Florence. You're not from round here, are you? He mutters, wiping a glass with a rag.
Indeed, I'm not. I'm visiting my friends here, but I live in New York.
That means you're with her. Smart choice. Whatever she's got you wrapped up in, at least you'll leave with your head still on. Julius always said that if you haven't had a pint in a London pub by the end of the day, you haven't really been to London at all. And yeah, you recognize him. You're a regular patron here, so he knows you. And the fire crackles. The murmur of voices fills the air. And for the first time, in far too long, you feel truly at ease. It's starting to get late. You're still at the pub, just drinking.
I'll be smoking my cigar.
There we go with the dropsies.
Don't show me anything, sure. She'll drop it.
Oh my goodness. Well, John, what have you thought about what you've seen today?
Well, I was just thinking what to say, actually. There's a lot.
We've seen a lot. We've covered a lot of...
It's a shame Glenn had to get scammed like that. Should have known better, Glenn. These miscreants and vagrants of London, they'll rob you blind if you're not careful.
I should have.
At least you didn't shoot the kid. Let's be honest.
Or
You
either
probably
give him
did
a
a good
cigar
deed and
burn.
put dinner on his table that night.
That's right. That is right. Well, we've got... Think about what we've heard today. A kid telling us about a secret door. Definitely either delusional or psychotic man telling us about the green lizards.
Seems like a bunch of nonsense to me.
Well, it does...
And also that you heard the rest of the story of,
Well, I can't really reckon with that story, Glenn, but I don't think you're a liar, but I don't know what to think, really. It's hard to believe, you have to understand.
Yeah, I understand that you don't understand that.
Right, that's a good
Yeah.
comeback.
Because, well, it is really weird.
But we've seen a lot of weird stuff, haven't we, Glenn?
A bunch.
Yeah, we've been privy to things most humans never encounter.
Well, it's getting pretty late. Oh,
Well, we need to get you back.
I was staying with Glenn.
Right, get you guys back home. Get back to the Chelsea and get you...
Perhaps you can ask Dr. Smith if he's heard of these green lizard men
Yes,
in his studies.
I think so. I think we need to...
Yeah, because if he has seen them before, or what, or something really close to that, the old man, he could be telling the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, you wrap up your evening at the pub, and Florence heads back to the Chelsea Arms, and then we are left with Luis and Glenn in the car, driving back to St. John's Wood.
I think that cigar smoke's getting you.
Maybe you shouldn't be smoking so much, Glenn, with that cough.
I mean, he's like...
So, the evening air is crisp as your carriage rolls steadily through the streets of St. John's Wood. The rhythmic clatter of hooves on cobblestone. Oh no, sorry. Forgot, you're taking the car. So, yeah, you're driving back to your home in St. John's Woods. What are you doing?
When the pictures fall down, someone.
Oh, I didn't see. And you feel the weight of the day's excursion settling over you, pleasant exhaustion, the long hours spent guiding your old friend through London's winding streets. Julius had been right to insist on the tour. It felt good. Normal, even.
Besides the commie stuff.
Right on.
As the carriage turns onto your familiar street. Or sorry, I keep forgetting you're in a car. As your car turns onto your familiar street. The quiet comfort of home is just within reach. And then you see it. You and Glenn both. A fiery glow paints the night sky ahead. Its flickering light casting unnatural shadows across the rooftops. Then, the familiar scent of burning wood reaches your nose. Your stomach twists. Pulse quickens. And then you see it. Your home, ablaze.
Oh my god.
A roaring inferno engulfs the townhouse. Flames licking hungrily at the brick facade. Spilling from shattered windows like the grasping hands of some hellish beast. Thick black smoke billows into the sky, curling and
Wait, is this
writhing
my house or Luis's?
as though alive. It's her house, yeah. Because you said you were like 2 blocks away, so
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I need to clarify. The car
Remember, Cole.
screeches to a halt as you hit the brakes and throw the door open, stumbling out, feet hitting pavement. The heat slams you in waves, singeing the air, drying your throat before you can even scream Julius's name. Where is he? Where is Beddoes? You see no sign of either. The fire brigade is already here. Men in helmets and heavy coats, shouting orders as they unravel hoses, their silhouettes stark against the blaze. Water arcs through the air, crashing against the flames, but it does nothing at all. The fire refuses to be tamed, eating through the house with unnatural fury. Neighbors have gathered on the street, faces etched in horror, and voices a chorus of gasps and murmurs. Someone calls out to you, "Luis!" But it's barely registers. Her eyes are locked onto the upper windows, searching desperately for a glimpse of Julius, Beddoes, of anything. Nothing. No movement. No sign of them. Just fire. You want to run forward, to charge into the inferno, to tear apart the flames with your own hands, if must be. But the heat is unbearable. The fire too fierce. A hand grabs your arm, holding you back as you strain against them. Probably Glenn.
Yeah.
A crash. Part of the roof caves in, sending a column of sparks and embers into the night sky. Julius was here. Julius was home. And now, the fire roars, swallowing the rest of your thoughts. Jesus Christ! What the hell's going on? Who would have set fire to your home?
I don't know.
God, I hope Smith got out. And Beddoes.
I hope anybody that was in there, except for the person that did this, got out. Because I know that it would definitely not be Smith. Since this is yours and Luis's house.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, you're just left there. The house is burning down. The fire brigade is there. The police have yet to arrive.
Remember last night? We saw the Asian woman and the man with the bushy mustache.
Well, you and I did, but I'm not present at this location with you guys.
True.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
So that's something you only know, and Glenn does not,
Right.
unless you tell him. If that's what you suspect.
That's what I'm
So
telling
then do
you
that.
now.
Right now.
Right now.
Act. Action. Go.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna put a gun to your head and make you role play.
Okay. All right. The only thing I can only think about last night. I felt disturbed and uneasy about seeing this man and this woman, and they were there while we were talking together. I'd never seen them before, but something inside me just told me that there was something not right, and I just knew that. I knew when we left today. I knew that this wasn't going to end well. I just had a foreboding. I just had such a horrible feeling. You know, you've
What
got
did they look like?
Asian woman and a man with a big bushy mustache.
Is that all that you could see?
That's all that I could see. I didn't see them, but just for a short time while we were all talking. You know, and I think that, you know, he made that presentation last night, and I think there's something more to this. I think that somehow the two are related. Because, you know, and not unless an ember from the fireplace caught the house on fire. I don't know. I don't know what to think. You know,
What if
I've got to get in there. I've got to see if he's there. So,
you'll die probably if you go in there?
well, we have to find him. We have to see where he's at. Go around the back. Go around the back of the house. I'll go through the front of the house.
Okay.
You know, you be safe. I don't want you to get yourself hurt.
I know.
But see if maybe they're in the back.
I know.
Yeah, you go around to the back and you don't see... Well, actually, you see... give me... Do you have any tracking or anything? Or just do a spot hidden. Just do spot hidden for me.
36.
39.
Oh, wait,
It's
no.
a 9.
Oh, that's 39.
What's your spot hidden?
My
25.
spot has 25.
So
I
that's a
fail.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't see... You can't spot any signs of anyone having left.
I should
You can push the roll. I always forget to tell you this. Anytime you fail something, you can spend luck to make the difference. You lose the luck points and then it turns into a success. Or you can push the roll. But if you push and you fail, there's a consequence. I will tell you what the consequence is before you push, though.
What if I push?
If you push, you're going to get burnt. As some of the flaming wood kind of topples over, and while you're paying attention to the ground, it hits you in the back of the head. That's what will happen. And you'll take some damage if you fail the push roll.
I'll do luck.
Or you don't have to do anything. You don't have to pass this roll if you don't want to. If you don't think it's important enough. Because your luck is finite. And you can't use it. Well, I think you can use it for combat too, so you might want to save it for like...
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah,
like,
I'll do a
you could also use
push.
luck to avoid getting hit. You know?
I'll do a push.
Okay.
8!
0,
0 and
Wow.
8.
Yeah, you, as you're looking on the ground, trying to see any signs of what happened, you do notice some fresh footprints that are kind of in the snow. There's like 2 sets of footprints leaving the house and going out back behind to like a street somewhere.
The heck?
But other than that, that's the only trail that you're able to find, and then it disappears on the street and you lose sight of the trail. But there are 2 sets of footprints that are fresh. Whether or not that means it's Smith and Beddoes, you don't know.
Or whoever set the house on fire.
Or the man and the woman from the night before. We don't know.
So can I go run to Louise and tell her that I found tracks?
Okay.
Louise!
Yes, what did you find? What did you find?
I found tracks, too! I think it could be the man and a woman, or it could be,
Could you tell by the size of the tracks? Was one set of tracks smaller than the other? Or did they look like
They
bigger?
look the same to him.
They look the same to me.
Okay, well, I don't know. They won't let me in. They won't let me go to him. I can't get in the house.
So at this point, the police arrive on scene. And they'll want to question you and ask you what, did he have any enemies, did you leave anything on? Did you, do you have how many fireplaces are there? Just like trying to figure out what happened, get to the bottom of it.
And I'll tell them that you found two set
At
tracks
the
at the back.
Trying to exit, but then they end like at a street.
At the street?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you tell them that. And they're like, oh, well, there's not much we can do at the moment, but we'll be keeping an eye out for Julius. Professor Smith. So, with that, I mean, there's not anything else you can really do.
Just wait and
So
see.
you'll have to go, I guess, stay with Glenn tonight.
Okay.
In his home. To make up the guest bed. That's the second guest bed, because John's also there.
Yeah.
Got a house full.
I guess let's go to my house.
Well, and I'm glad you're only 2 blocks away so that I can keep checking. I'm going to have to be able to keep checking and checking. I won't be able to sleep. I can't rest.
Well, if you don't sleep for too long and you don't have like enough sleep, you're gonna die from sleep deprivation.
Well, but I'll be okay. I've just got to go through this.
So, the night comes and goes. The morning arrives, and you can see from Glenn's house. Out the window, you can see the embers dying down as the house finishes smoldering. And when you go look at it the next morning, as you move towards the house, you see the remains have been reduced to little more than a skeleton of its former self. Charred timbers jut out at jagged angles. Stone walls that remain are scorched and cracked, stained a deep black. The stench of burnt wood and ash hangs in the air. And give me, since you're looking through it, give me a spot hidden. You too, Glenn.
Ooh, 6.
6. Finally, it looks on my side.
17.
You are able, so you both spot the remains of broken glass, fire bottles, still visible among the wreckage. They lie shattered where they were thrown through the windows.
Oh.
The heart of it all, the professor's life's work,
That's
the books,
I know.
papers, artifacts, are
The
little
stuff-
more than ash and ruin.
and the desk, my desk.
That's not there. Remember, it's in your home in Vienna. Or Wespenhof, or
Okay.
wait, I can't remember where. Somewhere in
Okay.
Germany.
That's right.
Not,
that's right.
Not Vienna.
That's right. Yeah. Yes. Well,
They look like the Molotov cocktails I made on. Remember the shadow creature on the train?
mm-hmm.
They look like the Molotov cocktails I made, except with a different
A different bottle.
bottle and a different drink.
Well, let's look at this.
But it was probably moonshine.
If it was Molotovs thrown in the building, what are the footprints doing going outside the back of the building, out of the house? If they would just have thrown those. So could it be that they did escape the house? But why would they not have come
through the front?
To the front to be
Unless
to see us?
They were carried out.
As in kidnapped?
Yeah.
Well, I hadn't thought of that.
They could have been.
Could it be that
What if the Blood Red Fez is still out there in a different part of the earth?
Well, with all of his investigations into the paranormal, maybe he's come across something that shouldn't be known. Maybe there's a force that he's found that is...
Nobody should know.
Yeah, maybe it's even something new.
Unless it's a cult that the cult still wants to try to stay hidden. Like, oh jeez, this is bringing me all back to the Blood Red Fez.
I know. Well, you don't know if it's connected, right? I mean, just because
But it could be.
It could be. It could very well be. Oh my goodness. I don't know. This is so horrible. I mean, we need to see if there's bodies in there. How are we going to do that? It's probably too hot.
You didn't find any bodies.
You've
looked through. That's what you found was the bottles.
Okay,
that's the only
just the
significant.
bottles.
Everything else is ash.
Okay then. Okay. So we know that we just almost can deduce that was
Arson.
right.
What does A stand for? Arson. B stand for Barson. C stand for commit arson. I'm not okay. Yeah,
I don't know the reference.
Yeah, it's from a meme.
Okay. So now
There are no memes in the 1920s, Victor.
That's out of context. What I just said there was out of context.
I understand.
okay. So we have to believe they're both alive. Oh my goodness. My dear sweet husband.
Well, the thing is, like there would have been bone fragments, though.
We would have.
We would have seen bone fragments.
We're sure that there are no bodies there.
The only place that you know that Smith might be would be the Oriental Club. That's a place he frequented a lot. He was a member of the Oriental Club.
So maybe they left and then they torched the house. No, this is the next morning, though. He would have come to your house if he'd have gone to the club. Because he would have gone back home, saw that the house was on fire, and then come to your house to find me.
Well, so yeah. You don't really have any leads or anything to go off of at the moment. You could go inform Florence.
We need to get a detective squad.
You are a detective.
Well, the police are already on the case. She already talked to them when they arrived at the fire.
Yeah, but we might need more.
Without more information, they can't really do anything.
Yeah.
They need a lead to go off of.
Well, the only thing we have is the car. All of our other possessions are gone. You've got... John is with you. Shall we just go find Florence and tell her what's happened? And then we'll have to decide what we're going to do. Boy, this sucks. This is not good.
Sure, yeah, you get in the car and drive back to the Chelsea Arms. Again, Florence, get a knock on your door. This time, it's them. They arrive directly at your room and fill you in on the tragic news.
Oh my goodness, how awful.
We have no leads except for Molotov cocktails were thrown.
Well, I guess you do have one lead that you mentioned earlier.
And that is the two people that were there.
You have a description.
Yes.
Yeah, besides that...
Now, do you want... You could give that information to the police if you want to. Because they know you as a detective.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah, so you, you're just kind of at a loss.
Well, that's what I'm sitting here.
For the rest of the day. There's not a lot. You can't really pursue anything, and you're just kind of left with the way things are.
But I do feel better knowing that there were no bodies in the house.
Yes.
So
And that
knowing
you got to see the 2 set of footprints going out the back door. That's what I'm holding on to, Glenn, is that hope that...
And then
Of course.
the day ends. You have to stay with Glenn again.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, at this point, are you worried about yourself as well? Like,
Why?
are you going to take precautions? Because you don't know if they were targeting Smith, targeting you. Because you both lived there. So, you know, maybe Glenn's even at risk.
Okay, I'm not gonna do that for a while.
Well, I hadn't even thought about the risk to you or I. I think that's probably something that we ought to take into consideration.
Jason, I wanna look if I still have my mouse model in handy.
Yeah,
And
you got it.
Mancaf's dagger.
Yeah, if you're at home.
It's in your
you got
closet,
it.
yeah. In your gun safe.
And I have all my weapons just burn up.
Alright, well, anyways, are you gonna, like... I don't know.
We're just gonna...
I don't want to keep asking you questions. You sleep.
Okay, yes.
Alright? The day ends again, the next day comes. And Florence, in the morning, when you go down and have your breakfast, you read the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
And you read... This is what you read.
Is this the... Okay, so is this what I said yesterday, like, to the journalist, or is this about the fire?
She's gonna
She's
read
gonna
it.
read and you'll
She's
find
gonna
out.
read and we're gonna find out.
Professor's home. I had to find the right words because this is not all in English. Professor's home burns. Fears for his safety. Professor Julius Arthur Smith, a figure well known in academia, was sought today following the burning of his St. John's Woods home under mysterious circumstances. Missing also is Dr. Smith's manservant, one James Beddoes. Witnesses saw a man resembling Beddoes run from the house just before the fire broke out. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Dr. Smith or Beddoes is requested to contact Detective Sergeant Rigby at Scotland Yard's Arson Division. Ooh.
So they knew it was arson because they saw the Molotov cocktail remains too. So they know it wasn't an accident.
And there is a knock on the door early in the morning
At
at Glenn's home.
Uh-oh.
As in, I just make sure that I have my revolver handy by me, just so that
Right.
Yeah.
I make sure I at least like have some self-defense to make sure that it's
Well,
not.
that makes sense considering what's going on.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Who is it?
Yeah, you open the... You can just open or say who is it.
But I say who is it first.
Message for you!
I open it.
And you see a little boy, and he hands you a card. Look at the other side.
Oh,
Right.
Julius Arthur Smith.
Oh,
He's still alive. Okay.
okay, what's going
It's
on?
one of his calling cards.
Come at once. Okay, this is.
I
voice.
haven't long.
I haven't long.
For God's
for
sakes, let no one
But
follow
no one
you.
follow you.
J.A. Smith.
J.A. Smith.
And then there's an address there.
108.
Slay?
So how do you?
Slay Drive?
Slay Drive.
Slough.
Slough Drive.
Slough Drive.
Okay.
Oh my god. Okay, we've got to go at once.
Do you want to get Florence first? Or are you going to go with Glenn straight away?
And John.
And,
Because
I guess
John
would
is
come
in
too.
my house with me.
Well, we were just about to pick you up. We were just about to pick her up. What should we do? I'm so rattled I can't even think.
Pick her up, then we go there. as fast as we can.
Okay,
Also,
all right.
I'll make sure that
Well, what
nobody
did the
follows
message say again,
us.
Glenn?
What
It said, for God's sake,
come
Make sure that
come at once.
come at once. We have to come at once.
Well,
If he says come at once, he means come at once. I know my husband. Come at once. So we have to.
I think it's on the way, so we could stop and pick her up.
Okay.
quick. We have to go.
Okay.
Also, since you have lost all of your weapons, pretty much, I'm gonna let you get one of my weapons.
I mean, she would have had her blackjack on her, most likely. I don't know. Maybe she had her pistol with her.
True.
Do you carry?
Oh yes, that's right. It's in my purse. I have my.
Do you still have both of your pistols?
No,
in your
I just
purse?
had one in my purse.
Which one was it?
So I'm gonna
You
take
don't have to sacrifice one of them.
the
The
Velo Dog
yeah.
revolver. 6 shots, 15 yards.
So the other one
I'll take
has
the
been
Derringer.
sacrificed.
And so has the.
Hand over the Derringer, lady.
Okay.
The police just confiscates
Well,
it.
and the blackjack too. I don't have it in my purse.
I'd say you have that.
Okay, I have it.
Yeah, you probably would.
That's
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
You're a
Got it.
lady. You need to carry a blackjack.
Okay. We're on our way.
It's a good thing that wasn't my house.
So
It said that was your house. So.
your car trudges through. After you pick up Florence, your car trudges through the snowy streets of London. As your carriage rattles through the narrow roads,
The car.
as your car rattles, it doesn't rattle because it's a car. It's very solid. As your car roars through the narrow roads with its engine, the city's familiar landscape and landmarks start to blur into the mist, illuminated only by the glow of gas lamps
Is
lining
anyone
the streets.
is anyone following us?
Spot hidden.
Me too.
If you're looking.
80.
Oh, 15.
I got 8, so that's like a best success I could have, right?
Oh yeah, mine's extreme
That,
too.
which is
You-
well, what's hard is the best, right?
Extreme is,
Oh, so I have mine out of order. I was trying to make myself a little cheat sheet up on top.
it goes hard and then extreme.
So hard's in the middle one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, the pedestrians huddled under their thick overcoats hurry along the sidewalks. Vendors along the roadside call out half-heartedly to people. And you near Cheapside. The buildings crowd in, becoming older and more worn, full of narrow alleyways and crooked structures. Arriving at your destination, you can see that the building has a sagging, tired look, windows fogged and unwelcoming. The streets smell faintly of damp wood, coal smoke, and the ever-present fog. And you spot
I might need to.
the face of Beddoes in the corner of the window as he pulls back the blinds and he's looking to see if you've arrived. And he spots you, Luis, and he opens the door.
Beddoes.
Is it dying?
Beddoes. Where's Julius? Where is he?
Oh, right this way, Luis. The moment you step inside, Miss Smith. The moment you step into the dimly lit bedsit, the air is thick with the scent of burnt cloth and medical salves. The room is small, barely furnished. There's a worn table with a single oil lantern on it, casting flickering shadows, and against the far wall, you see a figure lying on a threadbare mattress. As you get closer, your breath catches. His face is a ruin of burns.
Oh,
The once warm features, now a patchwork of raw, blackened flesh. The left side of his face, a twisted mass of scars.
Betos, how is he? What's happened?
His hands are bandaged almost to his elbow. You can see. And they rest on his lap, and he looks at you with eyes filled with pain and exhaustion, and I need you to make me a sanity check. All three of you, actually.
And that's with
Oh,
both
yeah.
of them.
We're immune.
Not to this.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
this
thought we were
is
for the rest of the
different.
game.
You're
This
immune
is
to specific
different.
things.
Oh.
I am
Not everything.
I am 000.
That's a critical failure. So you're going to take 3 sanity loss.
I got 8.
You take none.
And I have 36.
Does that pass?
My sanity's 45.
Alright, you don't take any either. So you lose 3 sanity as you see your husband in this state. And
Me and Lou, yeah.
Beddoes, he explains to you
Lose none.
briefly, we were attacked last night. Well, not last night, it would have been the night before. Night before last. So, Smith. Well, I guess first Beddoes says, "Thank God you're here." And Smith, his voice now is hoarse from the burns. "Oh, I feared I might never see you again." Beddoes takes his place behind him. And Smith, yeah, as you ask him, he kind of gives a weak chuckle. "Turkish madmen. I've been expecting something. Some trouble, but not like this. They set upon us in the dead of night, set fire to the house. I would have perished in the flames if not for our dear Beddoes. He pulled me out, carried me through the smoke like some goddamned knight. The house is gone. Everything. My books, my work, all of it lost. But I can count myself fortunate, because I am alive." His gaze centers on you, Luis. He reaches for your hand. "My love, I'm so sorry you had to see it this way. That you had to find a home. But I swear to you, I will make this right. You must listen. Listen carefully. They were after something specific. Not me. Not the house. No. They wanted knowledge. Information. They wanted the location of the Sedefkar simulacrum."
What?
The Sedefkar simulacrum.
What is that?
It is an artifact from my research of immense evil. It was a statue broken apart at the end of the 18th century. It scattered across Europe. Its power is, from what I've read, unnatural and dangerous.
Do you have description of them?
I secretly spent years tracking its pieces. I determined to find them first and ensure that they were destroyed. The people who came for me last night, they knew. They wanted what I know. I would rather have burned alive than let them have it.
Do you have description of them?
It is a statue that, from the writings,
No, I mean the people. Do you have description of the people that did it?
Turkish madmen. They were Turks.
They were Turks.
Okay.
I just want to say for the record that
Is my pain hilarious to you?
I put Turkish on my language for Estelle before. I don't want you to think I added this later. It says Turkish,
All right,
okay?
Well, we're
Just
on.
in case that's relevant later.
Okay. That's fine.
And,
Had
and
to pick
so,
something.
my darling, do you have pieces of this now?
No. I had been researching the locations.
Okay.
I should have told you, my love. I didn't. I kept it from you because I did not wish to drag you into danger again. I thought I could handle this on my own. I thought if I found it and destroyed it, you would have never had to know. That choice is no longer mine. I cannot travel. Not like this.
No, we
Which
need
is
to.
why you must do it. I cannot.
Okay, but we need to get you to a hospital as soon as we can.
Yeah, we do.
Meadows has already treated my wounds. He was a field medic in the war, so he's done a good job.
Okay.
You and Florence, if you want, you can also do
Do a
a
medicine
medicine
roll?
check on him.
Okay. 10.
Yeah, you can. From what you see, Beddoes did a perfectly fine job of treating all his wounds, and there's nothing more you could do for him.
So what? Just tell me what I need to do, and I will do it.
Okay, this will not be easy. The statue's pieces were scattered across the continent for over a century.
What are the locations?
His gaze becomes momentarily distant, as if reciting knowledge pulled from deep within his mind.
The simulacrum was last whole in Paris for the French Revolution. It belonged to a nobleman who went by the name of Fenelic, Comte Fenelic. It was dismembered shortly before he disappeared. If any parts of it remain in France, it should be there. Napoleon's forces, I believe they carried a part of it to Venice when they occupied the city. Another piece made its way to Trieste around the same time.
Italy, or
Its fate beyond that is unknown. But you should seek out one Johann Winkelmann at the museum there.
in Trieste.
Yes. Another fragment was lost near Sofia during the Bulgarian War in 1875. Things of value were hidden to protect them from invaders. It could be buried somewhere there still. The kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes may have another piece. Your best lead will be at the National Museum of Belgrade. There is a Dr. Milovan Todorovic. He is the curator. He may know something more.
You sound like you're dying.
The last known piece passed through Paris again. After the Great War, it was sold to someone from Milan. I know nothing beyond that.
His gaze hardens, locking onto each of you in turn.
Once you have it all, there is only one way to ensure its destruction. You must take it to Constantinople.
Again.
The simulacrum must be returned to its original home. A place known as the Shunned Mosque.
Getting Constantinople, like with the Blood Red Fez. We had to go there.
Yeah.
There exists a ritual that can destroy it utterly. The method is described in a set of ancient texts. They are called the Sedefkar Scrolls, but I haven't been able to study them myself. Find the pieces. Destroy the simulacrum. Do not let it fall into the hands of those mad men. Because if they succeed, I fear none of us will live to see what comes next.
And he collapsed. He kind of is now just so exhausted that he just kind of passes out. And as the heavy silence settles over the room, Beddoes moves up to you, stepping forward, stiff-backed and silent. He looks older than you remember, his face drawn, his eyes haunted by something unsaid. In his gloved hand, he carries a sturdy leather valise, well worn but in excellent condition. Kind of bag a gentleman might take on a long journey. He clears his throat and places it on the table in front of you with a muted thud. Professor Smith had been saving these funds for the expedition he planned to make himself. It was meant to be him on this journey, but now it falls to you. He unclasps the valise, and as he opens it, you glimpse the tidy stacks of 5-pound notes inside. Far more money than you expected. Must be at least 1,000 pounds sterling, possibly more. He intended to travel aboard the Simplon Orient Express. All arrangements have been considered already. The route, the destinations, the expenses. This money will cover your journey, accommodations, and anything else you may need to complete this work. And he hands you notes that he has been writing.
That Julius has been writing?
No, that Beddoes was writing.
Oh, he was writing notes.
He took notes on everything that Professor Smith just said. But that's all. It's literally what I just told you.
Yes.
Because we're going to need to go back to that to remember.
Yeah, I wrote it all down, but
I know.
This is way better. Way better.
Beddoes also took his own notes.
Yeah, good for Beddoes.
Just for that particular thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, his thin fingers brush the edge of the case before he withdraws them, folding his hands before him like a man waiting for judgment. I think Professor Smith needs to rest.
Yes, and thank you.
We don't want to take him to a hospital. We're afraid that if we do, they will try and finish the job.
Okay, I understand that. And thank you for taking such good care of him and you know, doing what you need to for his wounds. Do you have money to be able to take care of yourself and him?
Yes.
While I'm gone?
We do.
Okay.
I just wish I could have saved him sooner. Or stopped those men before they burnt the house down. It was late when it happened. I had retired, but the sound of breaking glass woke me.
And we were just pulling up. You know, we saw the house ablaze. We were coming back from our day of sightseeing with...
When I awoke, I barely had time to register what was happening before I heard Smith screaming. And I did what I could. I found him collapsed, and his skin... I barely recognized him. But I did not stop to think. I carried him out, gasping for breath, knowing only that if I did not act quickly, he would be lost. And the house was gone within minutes. The books and research, all of it, reduced to ash. And those men disappeared into the night.
And there were 2 of them?
Yes. Well, there was actually... Yeah, I think there were 2, yes.
I swear that if this is another cult...
But they failed. And now, thanks to his foresight, and thanks to you, this task can still be completed. Godspeed, Mrs. Smith.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. How can I get a hold of you as we're on our travels? What is the best way?
Well, the professor and I will keep in contact via telegram.
Okay.
We will forward... We know where you will be.
Yes, you know our itinerary.
So we can have them wait.
Okay.
Keep it for you when you get there.
Okay.
And if you need to send us any messages back...
Okay.
We can come up with a plan for that. I can go and get the telegrams for him.
Okay.
I'm sure. So yeah, you leave Sheepside. And it is the 6th of January, by the way. So now... I'm trying to think what leads you have now here. So basically, you now need to actually arrange your journey, because this is not prearranged like it was last time. So in order to...
I thought he said that they had done...
The itinerary, like they
okay,
planned
the
it out. They hadn't
plan,
actually...
but not
That's
the-
why he gave you £1,000,
Yes.
or £1,000 sterling,
Okay,
because it
okay.
still needs to be paid for.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I guess we should probably find something to... Well, get us traveled to the places and to be able to get the parts of the artifact. Right?
Right.